So to give some context on where I kind of stumbled across this and how I saw its power and etc. is back in my heyday, back when I was a youngster with hair and in the sales game, I had it was 2019, my best sales year ever. Generated, I still haven't beat it, but generated over $1 million in commissions, and was closing at 86%, I think it was on average. And it wasn't because I was a super extraordinary seller. I don't have a gift of the gab or wasn't forcing people into purchasing. It's because the business owner that I was working with had built an ecosystem. And then he was just driving the attention of that ecosystem into a sales process that I was the beneficiary of, because most of the people I spoke to, I would just jump on, take them through the sales process, and we'll close at an extremely high rate. And he probably, well, it benefited me because he didn't try and scale it. It was just me selling, so I was just getting the pick of everything. I pick all the leads, etc., etc. But yeah, as I said, it generated over $10 million for the business, and I was on a 10% commission only rate at the time, and generated over $1 million in commissions. So that was where I first saw the power of this, and then since then, so I launched a business not long after that in 2020. I think I've shared the story with most of you guys around. I basically got into business with a bad business partner, and then he kind of fucked me over a bit. I won't go into that whole story, but lost that business, so I basically had to sign my shares of that company over, and that was from 2020 to 2022, and then over the last couple of years, I've kind of been consulting, freelancing, like not really knowing what to do. And then in the last 3 months, I've kind of put my foot down onto a new business venture, and in 3 months, last month we cracked over 30K in revenue, and it's growing quite exponentially. Like we're 7 days in and already at close to 20 for this month, and it's mainly because of this. So to help the understanding of the ecosystem, as I said, I've drawn some partially retarded pictures, but hopefully you guys get the gist of it. If you don't, then let me know. So this is the basic part. The influenced sales system, which all of you guys have, you all have some form of selling system, right? This is the primary one I use, and it's what primarily that you guys would use as well. I mainly do discovery calls, but obviously you guys have messenger convos. You get someone interested, you get them to book a call, you send them some stuff to review before the call, then you pitch them on the call, right? So that's your selling system. And that's the exact same system I used when I had that $1 million commission year. And we do initial discovery call, send them I call it a transition bridge, but send them some sort of videos that helps pre-handle objections and get some of the basic information out of the way. And then get them on the closing call, pitch, close. So what most people focus on is this. They're like, okay, well, how do I get more people into my sales system? How do I get more calls? How do I get more pitches? How do I get more sales? They'll run ads. They'll run ads, referrals, organic, partnerships, events. The list goes on of different ways that you can capture demand. But the bit that people tend to miss is the ecosystem. So they all just want to optimize for how can we get more of these so we can get more people here and more people here, because that should equate to more sales. But if you guys are all relatively new, but once you've been in the game for a little while, you see that the whole spend X on ads to get X leads, to get X calls, to get X pitches, to get X sales, that whole equation doesn't work. It works at a small level, but as soon as you try and scale it, it breaks. Why is that? Because of the ecosystem. So that when someone's in your sales process, they don't just go, oh, well, I saw Josh's ad, I booked a call with him, he sent me some videos, I'll watch that, then I'll just jump on the call. And that's that goes for all of us, right? Like whenever you buy anything, generally if you see an ad or you get a referral, you get something, you'll then go maybe check out one of their social platforms, look them up somewhere else. You'll probably check online reviews. You might see if any friends or colleagues have spoke to them. And that happens throughout the sales process as well, whether you've booked a discovery call, and someone's booked with you through Messenger. It doesn't just end there. They don't just stop all form of research. They don't just stop everything they're doing. Yes, they'll pay attention to what you've sent them, but they'll also go and do some other research on you. They'll probably Google you a bit. They'll maybe see if you've got TikTok or YouTube. They'll speak to their partner. They'll do all of these things prior to getting to that closing call. And if you're getting high no-show rates, if you're getting low closing rates and struggling to obviously transition someone from a sale, a conversation to a sale, it's probably because your ecosystem isn't building trust with that prospect. So even when they're already in the sales system, they're not seeing enough from you to build trust. So they may have spoken to their partner, and their partner says, nah, don't worry about that. Just don't show up for the call. So like, okay, I won't. They go check you out on Instagram. There's not much there. So they're like, yeah, no, I can't really be bothered doing that call. They check you out everywhere. So, but someone, if I just use, I don't want to tout Abram to put him on, like, put spotlight on him or put him on a pedestal or anything, but he's done this extremely well, to the point where prospects are basically knocking down their door to want to work with him and his team, because he's got this ecosystem going on now between mainly his Instagram, his Facebook, and then just runs all that traffic into a sales process. So when anyone comes into the sales process and they go check out anywhere else that he is, doesn't matter that he's got, I think 370,000 followers now. Like the follower count doesn't matter, but he's putting educational content out there that they can go consume, which builds more trust leading into the sales call. And over the last 12, when I first started doing these calls for FitPro, Abram was sub 20,000 followers. And since he's doubled down on just producing content, being of value, he's obviously growing exponentially, organically. I get where, like obviously sometimes, and Dan's a proponent of this, where he has said many times, organic is a waste of time. Generally what he means is like the cold reach outs, just messaging people in the DMs and all that sort of stuff. Posting content, sharing insights is not a waste of time, because people, again, are going to check you out. So the full system kind of works like this, where most people have this part cut off from the market. So they're only really addressing people that are product aware, or like offer aware. So they're interested in your offer, whether it's lose 10 kilos in the next 90 days or a guaranteed way to get ripped, whatever it is. So they're interested in the offer, but they've had no prior education. So they're coming through only on the basis of how enticing the offer was, but they've got no clue who you are. So they are only kind of sitting in this product aware bucket, and you're trying to nudge them through an influence sales process system. And in that time, they're going and checking out all these other things about you whilst they're in the system. And if those things aren't building trust, you're going to have high no-show rates. You're going to have challenges with closing, and issues with progressing the business, essentially, because the trust just isn't there as someone is moving through your system. So the demand creation funnel, which some people don't like that term, but demand creation essentially means that you're creating interest in your brand, in who you are, in your business. So sharing content that is targeted towards people who are problem unaware. So if someone is fat, but they don't know why, you make them aware of why they are fat. If someone is aware that they are fat and they know that it's their binge eating problem, you show them stuff to help solve that binge eating problem. If someone is already looking at solutions and they're solution aware, so they know that there's personal trainers, there's MyFitnessPal, there's Jenny Craig, there's CenterFit, there's all these different solutions, and they're at a stage where they know that there's stuff out there, but they just don't know what to choose. You help educate them on how to make, on what sort of things to look for when making a decision on, you know, what sort of path to take to solve their problem. So once you know the core problem you solve, like if your angle is binge eating, if your angle is cortisol, if your angle is testosterone, whatever, like Josh, what was the angle you had last week? Like busy
corporate men working 9 to 5s
that don't have the time to work out. So if we use you as an example, and we're talking about some of the stuff around the soup, but the problem unaware side of that would be they know they're fat, but they just don't know why. So you might start talking about stuff like, look, hiding behind those baggy suits is not cutting it. People can still see the gut. And here's why. And you might even do, like, just as a general, this isn't going to be a sales piece, but as a general thing, you might do something that's like how to cover your gut when wearing a suit, and show them how to dress to cover the gut, stick a pillow under your belly, and just make it super uncomfortable, make it look super inconvenient. So then you're like, so you could go through this whole process, or you could just lose the gut and get ripped instead. And here's how. And then you rip the pillow out of your shirt, and you go, and here's the method, blah, 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 blah. So that's taking someone from problem unaware to problem aware to solution aware and knocking them through. If someone is problem aware, they're aware that they just don't have the time. They're like, I'm super busy. I just don't have the time to prep meals or do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. So then you might do stuff, how to prep meals and get in shape, even when you don't have the time. Solution aware is stop talking out like, so if we're talking to those busy men, why the average, or you might say something like, you don't need to train 5 days a week and smash yourself in the gym for hours. So we're tackling like a misconception around the solution they think they need, which is they think they need to be doing hours in the gym every day, spending all their time eating salads and meal prepping, etc. We dispel that thought solution, that assumed solution, and show them an alternative path. And then once we've got that collection of content that we're starting to produce, we transition people to being product aware, which is offer aware of you. Now, when you start pushing people into your sales system, they're going to be way more educated, have way more trust. And even if they go and do their research, once they're in the sales system, they're going to find things of value and go, this guy is someone I want, or this girl is someone I want to work with. Now, do you 100% need an ecosystem to start? No. You can just play the volume game, push as many people through as you can, and then just basically rely on hard work. But that only gets you so far. You're always going to hit a cap. If you want to expand to the multi-5, 6-figure a month sort of levels, then you're going to need to start thinking in this ecosystem mentality. And you can do that straight away if you chose to. I personally would. I would start building some of this stuff out. Even just start with the one channels, Facebook and Instagram. Double down on it. I know Gerard did that great training last year around TikTok, and I believe he translates that across to here. But Abram has taken that training and translated it across to Instagram, and obviously he's blown up. I do a lot of this on LinkedIn, and I generate majority of my business or new business from LinkedIn. So I'm only focused on one channel at the moment because I just don't have the bandwidth to do them all. So if you don't have the bandwidth to do them all just yet, just focus on one. Just post on Instagram and Facebook, and that's it. If you can multi-purpose it and it's a content that fits in TikTok as well, sure, shift it across to that and just post it there too. But just know where your audience is. So Josh, for example, if you are going to go after those busy corporate dudes, it'll probably be worth for you being on LinkedIn and sharing some of that stuff on LinkedIn, because they hang out there. That's where they spend time. If you are going after 21-year-old girls, TikTok is the place to be, because that's where they hang out. So it's not necessarily, it's not about likes, followers, etc. It's just about getting your message in front of your audience.